State Senator John Milkovich is here for a little bit. Mr. John, how are you? Welcome back to KEEL. How you been?
Good, Robert. How are you?
Well, let's start here. The John Milkovich, is it fair to call it a heartbeat abortion bill? Update us on the status, where it is, and what it says.
Well, it's the fetal heartbeat bill. And listen, this is a great victory for America. It makes it illegal in Louisiana to kill babies when a heartbeat can be medically detected. I say for America, though, because this bill is being proposed and passed in states throughout the United States. The people of America are rising up and saying no to killing babies. This is, in part, I know, a spiritual, emotional, and determined response to the bills in Virginia and New York, where they basically celebrate killing babies, which, how in the world anyone could celebrate infanticide?
John, pardon me, John, what is the time frame? What is the time restriction, the pregnancy time restriction on your bill?
Well, it's when the heartbeat can be detected, and some people say that's 5 weeks. Other people say it's closer to 18 to 22 days. So this is a very significant restriction on abortion. I want to be very clear. I'm against all abortion. I believe abortion is murder. I think that's borne out in the medical science. The human being exists from the point of conception. That's scientifically established.
Exceptions to your bill, John? Alabama has very few. What about your bill?
Well, we do not have rape and incest exceptions. And let me say two things. Number one, Aaron, we do empathize and try to understand the horrible tragedy and trauma it is to women that are sexually assaulted. And in addition to that, we believe that it's not righteous to kill the baby because of a sexual assault. We don't think it's right for the baby to be
life of the mother exception, though, like Alabama.
There's not a specific restriction in that regard.
So you have no exceptions in your bill?
It's a pretty straightforward prohibition, and we believe that. And listen, if you get right down to it, if a doctor has to go in and do something medically to save the mother or the child, that's not what this bill is intended to do. But it is definitely intended to prohibit the intentional abortion of children at a very early age. But again, I am against personally all abortions, and this does not eliminate all abortions yet, but it's a very important blow against the abortion cartel. People don't understand how aggressive these people are about killing babies. They talk all day long about women's reproductive rights and women's health. And they're not about that at all. They're about killing babies and making money.
Okay, John, the House is expected to pass it. The governor's going to sign it. When does it go into effect, and does it prohibit people in Louisiana from getting an abortion, though Roe v. Wade is the law of the land? Another legal fight is likely ahead, right?
Oh, absolutely. And, Aaron, we spend, several $1 million a year fighting this. And I'm not exactly sure of the precise number, but Louisiana has spent millions of dollars. And by the way, that is not 1% of our budget. That is a fraction of 1% of the budget. My belief is that if anything is a worthwhile expenditure of our state funds, it's to spend one small fraction of 1% of our state budget to protect the life of the unborn. And like I say, this is something that's sweeping the nation, and this is a cause for encouragement. I would liken it to, in some ways, to the way people stood up to Robert Mueller and put the brakes on his attempt to destroy the presidency about 6 miles south of Shreveport. I think it's called a place called Stonewall. The people of America are tired of it. They're tired of the hypocrisy. They're tired of the game plan. They're tired of a culture of death, of abandoning God, rejecting God, and this is part of it.
President Trump actually tweeted, John, some of the states' abortion laws are now going too far. Ours is one of those. You think the president and you might disagree on this?
Well, yeah. I agree with a lot of things the president has done, and as you know, we worked on completed a book saying that Mueller was a crook in trying to take out our president because President Trump wasn't part of the insiders' deep state guild. But if President Trump says these abortion laws are going too far, yes, that's an issue on which President Trump and I disagree. Ultimately, and I have been supportive of the president because he has been independent and he's been a maverick. He's an outsider. But ultimately, our guide is not any elected official. It's God, the Bible, and the Constitution. And under Louisiana, the medical science is that life begins at conception. And I don't know that we have time to talk about that, but it's there. The Bible is very clear that God honors the personhood of the unborn baby from the moment of conception. And in Louisiana law, our legal tradition for over a century has been that the unborn baby is a legal person with legal rights.
Mr. John, there was a couple of articles that Aaron and I both had read this weekend, and admittedly it was on your more liberal-leaning news websites, but it referred to the term trigger bill, and it was talking about the Ohio bill, the Georgia, Alabama, and soon to be signed into law, hopefully by the governor, Louisiana bill. And sort of what it implied was that these bills won't go into effect unless Roe versus Wade is overturned by the Supreme Court. Clarify that for us, please.
Well, I mean, these bills, there is a legal fight ahead on all of these bills, but a couple things. Number one, this is a fight worth fighting. This is a hill, we can die on this hill if we need to. We need to take the fight to the abortion industry. I mean, these people are horrendous. And when people talk about women's health, these clinics are, some people would liken them to butcher shops. They're horrible. They're not clean. They're not hygienic. They're not, there are instruments are reused. Women suffer significant surgical injuries and complications that are covered up. I think this is a fight that we need to fight. And by the way, one of these bills may be the bill that is used to overturn Roe v. Wade. And we've allowed the abortionists to basically place a curse on America of about approximately 60 million babies. Well, we talk about genocide in communist Russia, the Soviet Union, and in communist China. We've had genocide in America, and it's time for it to stop. And I'll go beyond that. I believe that the people of Louisiana are rising up. They're getting back on their knees. They're going back to God. They're rising up in prayer, and they're starting to hold public officials accountable. So this bill is a great blow on behalf of the unborn, but it's also very representative and symbolic of the people of Louisiana are ready to fight.
And one more question, Mr. John. Best case scenario, it makes its way through the Senate with the vote and goes to the governor. Best case scenario, when does the governor sign? What do you see as a time frame?
Well, and I feel like there's a very good chance that it's going to be passed in the House, but we need to pray for that. But once it's passed in the House, then the next step would be for the governor to sign it. Governor John Bel Edwards has publicly indicated that he will sign this bill, and then that would go in effect either, upon, and I'm not exactly sure of the exact date, and I apologize that I don't know the exact date. It would be soon. I do need to give this caveat. Some people on the Senate side put an amendment on it that it would not go in effect until the Mississippi bill is cleared by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeal, United States Court of Appeal. I was actually against that. I thought, let's put it into place now, and if we need to fight in federal court, we can spend, less than 0.01% of our state budget fighting it. I think it's worthy, but I did not get my way on that particular point.
Senator John Milkovich, thanks for your time. We'll be in touch.
Hey, guys, appreciate your work.